Hi, I'm Alan Murdoch. For the past 20 years, I've been buying, fixing, and selling properties right here in Southern Arizona. And I want to buy your property. Whether it's a house, apartment, commercial building, or vacant land, regardless of the condition or the situation, I want to talk to you. When you sell to me, I pay cash and it's hassle-free. No repairs, no closing costs, and no commissions. If you have a property you don't want to deal with and you want a quick solution, call, text, or visit selltalon.com. Again, that's selltalon.com.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
We can print anything on our soft vanilla logo cookies. We deliver them and other sweet treats locally. We are located at 4249 West Ina Road, Suite 121. Call us 520-300-1131. We bake smiles.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
I'm not going to do a local Moran introduction on this one because a lot of people know who you are already. Just by your face. They've seen you on TV, so I don't really need to be like, hey, welcome.
I think people think that we're a lot more recognizable. I know a lot of people recognize me from my voice.
Yeah.
And not from my face, because what a lot of people would do is they'll turn on the TV in the mornings. Mm-hmm. And they won't watch. They will listen. And so a lot of people would recognize me from my voice, or they would hear me on the radio because we would do those radio spots for a few radio stations in town, and they would hear that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So you were you were a meteorologist for an organization here.
Yeah. I worked for KOLD and KMSB. Came here in June of 2018. Started right during the height of monsoon. It was quite the introduction to Arizona.
What'd you think of it?
Honestly, when I came here, I was kind of thinking it'd be easy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's sunny, it's Arizona. Yeah, it'll be great. But no, monsoon and Arizona as a whole is actually one of the most difficult places I ever forecasted for because of all the different microclimates that we have. We have all the mountains, and then we have monsoon, and monsoon is like basically throwing a dart at a dartboard. It might rain here, like who knows?
Yeah.
And then we have those winter storms too that come through. You've got mountain snow and then valley rain, and sometimes it snows in the valleys. Like it was just something completely different, and I got schooled a few times. Yeah. More than a few times.
Yeah. It's an interesting, unpredictable event that happens.
Absolutely.
You'll look and the sky's clear.
Yep.
Go jump in the pool, and 5-10 minutes later, you're like, I think we're going to be getting out soon.
Right. Yeah. You see those cumulus clouds over the mountains, and you're like, oh, shoot. I got to go inside.
Yeah,
yep.
There's some lightning for sure. And it snowed here in March.
Yes, March. I think it was March 2nd because my last day on TV full time was the last day of February. And so I was no longer on TV, and I was walking into my new job, which is downtown in the old courthouse, and there was just a little snowman, and for the nose of the snowman, instead of a carrot, they had to Arizonify it, and it was one of those yellow fruits that come from one of the cactuses here. So I remember that vividly.
So you're a new mom.
Yes, new mom.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Charlie is 16 months old now.
Yeah.
So April 25th she was born.
Time flies, huh?
Yes, it does, but I will say I do miss my tiny little potato baby. They're
Always.
So fun and they're so cute.
Yeah.
But I have enjoyed watching her just like explore everything. Everything is so new, and so the things that become mundane and like annoying to you is super cool to watch through a kid's eye. And I remember saying that even when I was pregnant, I was just most excited to have this little baby and this little kid to show the beauty of the desert, because I'm a big hiker, and so I hiked through my pregnancy, and I hiked this last winter with Charlie on my chest. I had to carry her.
Cool.
I don't know if she liked it very much. She fell asleep most of the time, but I'm excited as she grows up to continue to watch her really explore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With you being a new mom, what advice do you have to somebody that's getting ready to be a new mom?
Oh my God. We could have a whole podcast on this. Really, for me, the hardest part has been the mental part of it. So when I was pregnant, I dealt with severe depression and anxiety. I would go on the news for 4.5 hours, 5 hours every day and be smiling and happy and blah, blah, blah. And then when I would come home and have panic attacks, I would sit in my closet before I would get ready for work and like try to find a dress that would like hide my belly. Thankfully, I showed small, and so I didn't have a whole lot of comments on my body while I was pregnant. And so for me, that was the hardest part. And that was during pregnancy. And then postpartum, it's just absolutely insane. So give yourself grace and get help when you need help. I had never talked to anyone, a psychiatrist, and I went to my OB and I was telling her how I was struggling, and my husband had noticed, but he didn't want to push too much, and so he kind of just let me off to my own devices, and I wasn't eating, but I was also having a lot of food aversions, and so I went to my OB and I told her, and she's like, let's get you connected with someone. And so I got connected with a psychiatrist, and I saw her through the second half of my pregnancy, and that helped tremendously. I also started taking some medicine that was safe for pregnancy, and then postpartum as well. I took that until I was about, I think, 10 months postpartum. So ask for help. And also, before you get pregnant, work out and get your body in as good of shape as possible. I was in the best shape of my life when I got pregnant. And thankfully, even though my mind was struggling, my body wasn't. I was carrying my baby, I was still hiking, and I was still doing everything that I could. And so get in that habit of working out, whether it be going to the gym, whether it be hiking, whether it just be, I took my dogs for a walk at the end of my pregnancy. That was my working out, but I was still moving. And so
now it's doing something.
Yeah, absolutely. And even through postpartum, I walked every single day. We got home from the hospital, and then the next morning I took I think it was a 1/10 of a mile walk. But it helped me, and it kept me from getting too far gone in the mental stuff. So
the amount of, I'm going to say this word is physical trauma and things that I witnessed my wife go through 2 times with, we've had 2 kids.
Yeah.
It is absolutely mind blowing how much women go through. And dudes that are, you ask for help and all that stuff. Guys, for me, it just motivated me as a father to do as much as I can.
Yeah.
And, to piggyback off what you're giving advice wise to new moms, I'm going to tell new dads, step it up.
Yeah.
They need you. They went through hell and back to bring that beautiful baby here. Least you can do is get off your ass and go do the dishes, take the trash out, clean the house, make dinner. Step up, do your own laundry.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I will say, my husband, bless him, he absolutely did that. So I went back to work at 12 weeks because that's all I had off from work. And so I had to pump when I went back to work, and the pump parts. I started off by washing them because I would get home and wash them, but then it just got to be too much. And then it was 4 months, Charlie turned 4 months old, and my husband started doing the pump parts, and I didn't wash a single pump part or any dishes until I stopped pumping on May 3rd. And I didn't touch a single dish. And so he did that. He does his own laundry.
That's the dude right there.
Yes, absolutely. I would not have made it
struck
through.
Gold there.
I really did. Which
That's
honestly,
awesome.
though, it's so sad that is that's the best, and that's men get praised for that, when it's that should be the bare minimum, right?
The reason we're having this conversation is because the bar's set pretty low.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just from what I know.
Absolutely.
And dudes that are listening to us, if I'm calling you out right now, I don't really care. Right? I know people in my circle. I know people in the community that I'm this might be something for you to listen to, but it's not me being a jerk and saying, it's just step up.
Right. And some people don't even realize it's happening and things like that. And
just
so
think about it.
But yeah, I do. I remember I was washing the pump parts, and he was like, no, you're not. You're done doing that.
Those never end.
You don't need to. Oh my God.
No one tells you when you're getting ready to have a kid, they're not like, oh my gosh, it's so exciting. Can't wait for the pump parts for all the things you have to wash, and all the pump parts are going to be great. Yeah. Nobody says all that.
And they come in these tiny little pieces.
You got to unscrew stuff, and
I was so happy. I still had some extras when I was done, so I gifted them to one of my friends, Shay Sorensen. She's actually on the other TV station in town. She had a baby in, I think it was February.
Yeah.
So I gave her some, and I gave some bags to another mom and some medicine to another mom. I was just get this out of my house. I don't want it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. No one ever talks about all that stuff.
No.
It's always oh, it's going to be so great. Which it is.
It was.
Which
it really is.
But there's some huge sacrifices that we all have to make.
Yeah.
And no one talks about it. So we're talking about it. I'm hey, if you're getting ready to have kids and you haven't talked about pump parts yet, Go ask somebody that's had a kid how it is.
Right.
How many times are you going to do it in a day?
Yep. How many times you're going to change them out? How many times you're going to like worrying about how many ounces you're going to get and everything like that.
Yeah.
And because I know I had Charlie at the height of the formula shortage.
That was insane.
So I wasn't really planning because I knew I was like, well, my job's really high stress. Like I have to be on TV for 4.5 to 5.5 hours every day, like straight. And so I didn't really have time to pump. And so I'm like, we'll try it out. I was also worried about my mental health. So I was like, if it doesn't work, we'll go to formula. I was formula fed. Everything turned out fine. Let's do it. But then there was no formula.
Yeah.
And so I really, that's how my postpartum anxiety really like formed was I created this huge oversupply and I donated like 1,000 ounces of breast milk. I'm still going through my freezer stash because I'm just giving it to her as she grows up because they say up to 2 years is beneficial, even longer if you can. And we just don't have the parts in place in America really to do it longer. But
no, you're right. It's great having you here because I've had all these conversations with my wife about that. And to go back on that formula thing, I have a true story. It was really, really sad. We went to Walmart to look at like bottle parts and stuff because my wife breastfed, thankfully, and it was going okay. And we're in the formula area, and a lady walks up to us, and she's holding her child, her infant, and she's like, "Do you guys have any extra formula? I can't find any." And she's crying ecstatically in the store.
That like makes my chest tight.
And I just was like, I was so upset. I didn't know what to do because there was nothing to do. I just was like, I don't even know what we do. Like we even talked like, do we have milk to give her? Like, can we even give her the milk? Like what if the kid, like does it have allergies? Like it was just crazy. And to walk into the store and see the shelves empty for formula, I'm like, how are people getting through this? And then you'd see online people price gouging formula like on Facebook Marketplace. And I was like, what a strange time.
And that was the bad stuff. But I will say, because I was in a lot of those groups at the time because I was obviously going through it. And there was also a lot of good that came from that because I saw a lot of parents from across the country be like, I have this formula. I can send it to you. Just please pay the amount for the formula. Like I'm not looking to make money. I'm just looking to help and stuff like that. And so, there was it was terrifying. And like I said, like it makes my chest tight because I still like get flashbacks and freak out about it. But there was some good that came from it, but also like what an absolutely ridiculous position to put new parents in. Like
I love what you just talked about, the good and from the Facebook groups and all that stuff. Facebook groups are so valuable.
Yeah.
They're so great.
Social media is so weird. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it.
I think it's normal because you're like, man, it's a great tool. You can do you accomplish a lot with it. And then the other side, it's like, well, if you want to use it in a different way, you can really make people upset and do so.
Right. Well, and like being on TV for so long, like I got so many comments on social media and most of them, it's funny because most of them are good. I'd say 95% of them are good, but it's the bad ones that always stick out the most.
We're built that way.
Right. I don't know why. And we do that all the time and it drives me crazy just like in my own head. But I've seen the worst and I've seen the best of people. When I came back from maternity leave, I had some people who were like, you need to be home with your baby. And then I had others who were like, oh, this is amazing. Good for you. And it's double-edged sword. But then you also get to meet people that do what you love to do and follow you follow them. I mean, we met on social media.
Exactly. Yeah. Look at us now. Hey, you want to jump on a podcast?
Exactly.
But it was really cool. You did the weather thing. And the strangest thing, it's so crazy. So you did that. So I ended up going out to Marana High School for the media day. We were going to, do media day with the football team, put them on social media, do all kinds of reels, have just an awesome time with Coach Stewart out there. And a storm I have never seen before, and I've lived here my whole life except for like a year. A storm hit that the intensity is, I've never seen it before in my life.
Yeah.
I was in the auditorium of the high school, and there's the doors that are there are heavy metal doors. And they run all the way down the auditorium, and they basically go from east to west. The wind was so intense, the doors were shaking. Power went out.
Yeah.
Like we were all in the dark. Like it just hit. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
And then Coach Stewart calls me. He's like, "Hey, Dave, the field's gone."
Is that okay? So I was going to ask, is that the one where it was flooded? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just like
gone.
Yeah,
and that's brand new field too.
Yeah,
yeah.
And you had posted something like, "Hey, there might be a little uptick in energy or something," and we were like, "Oh," and then
right, that was before the hurricane came, which Hurricane Hillary came that weekend, and then that was I think a Thursday that happened.
Yeah.
And so I don't get to do as much weather as I would like to. You know, obviously, like before I was. Every single day I would spend minimum an hour forecasting. So I cannot do that anymore because I'm not getting paid to do it anymore. But I like to follow the trends, and I think people always really like the wide view information, like how hot it's been this summer, how many 100-degree days we've seen, how many storms we've seen and stuff. And this summer has been weird. It just seems like not everyone has seen storms, but the storms that have formed have just been stronger. And maybe, that's maybe just me looking from the outside in, but that's what it seems like. You
know what, Stephanie? We had a conversation here. We were and with my parents. So my poor parents, man. So that storm hit, they live out in that area when that storm hit, right?
Yeah.
They're out in Patagonia enjoying themselves,
having a good
camping.
old time.
They were on a boat on the lake, and a storm caught them, and hail about golf ball size started coming down while they were stuck on the boat, and my mom was covered in bruises.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And they bought a brand new camper, and the skylight and everything, the hail went through the camper.
Oh my.
Wow. Then they come home from their trip to find their fence destroyed.
Oh my.
So they're in two different areas in southern Arizona, but they got absolutely wrecked.
Right.
But we've all been talking, and climate change, it's an argument that can go on for days, and it's politicized, and there's all kinds of stuff behind it. But from what I've seen living here my whole life, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something's off.
Right. Like the balance is just not quite right.
Yeah. It's just, it doesn't feel right. And I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm not a scientist, or I don't know, it's just but the intensity of things and the heat just feels different to me. I don't know.
Well, and so what we're seeing, because obviously we're setting daily high temperature records.
Yeah.
But especially up in Phoenix, and I'm sure you've all seen those photos of the saguaros that have just collapsed. Yeah. And so what's happening is not only are our daily highs maybe a few degrees higher than they were for longer stretches, the longer stretch is really bad, but also our overnight temperatures aren't rebounding like they used to. And so we just never get the break. You used to be able to probably go outside at 4:35 a.m. and it'd be maybe 65 degrees.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we've been in the 60s.
No.
I mean, I'd have to look, but I don't think we've been there since maybe June. Yeah. We had a really cool start to June. Can't forget that. We were in the low 90s for the first half of the month.
And that's another thing. You go for me, I was telling you before the show, I'm kind of a weather nerd.
Yeah.
And I keep track of a lot of stuff, and I follow different weather folks and stuff. And I watch radar and all kinds of stuff just to see, rotations and stuff, and to connect them to wind damage and whatnot. I'm weird.
No, that's fantastic. I love it.
Where was I going with this? Oh, with June. So when it snowed in March, I was looking at a pattern, right? It snowed in March. June was significantly cooler than usual. August has been significantly hotter than usual. July, August, and that kind of thing. For me, it's the whole season's concept got pushed back. Yeah. That's what it just if that makes sense. Yeah, the snow was late, and
March was late.
The heat was late, right? Yeah. Just all this fall's gonna be late. It's everything's gonna.
No, I need fall.
I'm not trying to.
Depression disorder is getting too hard, and I need fall.
Well, I told my wife, she's like, "Babe, pumpkin spice is out. Let's go get some." And I'm like, "Look, it's not fall." At all. We're not getting pumpkin anything. I'm it's 110 degrees out.
You know what? I used to be like that, but I have a friend. Her name is Nikki Reck. So if you're watching this, Nikki, hello. She is the biggest spooky person, spooky woman, loves pumpkin spice, loves it all. She counts down the days. Her husband told her that she cannot decorate their house spooky season until PSLs come back out, which was, I think, August 24th.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to adopt that mentality, because I'm thinking if we decorate for fall, it will the fall temperatures to come, right? Like,
hey, we got to do something. I don't have anything.
We got to try something. So
Yeah.
my husband's out of town this week, so I am decorating my house for fall. So
Yeah.
if you see skeletons on my fireplace and you don't like it,
Understandable.
don't want to hear it.
Yeah. My wife's been trying to enact something like that in our house for a while. She's usually pretty early on things, but I was like, it's 110 out. I can't, like.
I get it. I do. I used to be that person.
Going back to the weather thing.
Okay.
Because I'm a nerd. I have a pool in my house. I'm blessed to have a pool and go swimming in it. But for the first time since I've lived at this house, I've lived there since 2018.
Okay.
Every year, taking care of it's pretty easy. The water temperature this year has been higher than any other year that I've had it.
Really?
Significantly. Wow. And it stays at about 88 or higher.
Yeah.
With this temperature stuff. And the algae is consuming the chlorine levels in an amount like I've never seen before.
Yeah.
Like we're not even swimming in it really because we have the newborn and we just don't have time.
Right.
And I've had to buy shock and the chemicals have been insane for it. And I'm like, this is weird. Again, right? Like, it's like, this is odd. I've never had to deal with this before.
Right. And it's that stretch, right?
Yeah.
Because for July, we were above 100 degrees every single day for the month. That had only happened one other time.
When was that? You know?
It's on my video. I can't remember it. I think it was like 1993 or something. I can't remember.
Well, we won't quote that. So
yeah.
give us a break. All right. If we're off a little bit, then
right. Yeah. Please don't fact check me. I'll put it in the post. But yeah, so that had only happened one other time in recorded history. And so the fact that we saw a whole month of 100-degree heat, overnight temperatures were probably hotter too. It's just been yuck.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Ready for it to be over. I'm excited because I saw that there's like 90s in the forecast.
Yeah, this weekend, Labor Day weekend, finally.
I was like,
and then
cool
I think
down.
it goes back to
I
triple
saw
digits.
107. Like, oh, man.
Although I
why-
will say, depends on what weather app you're using, but the Apple weather app is trash.
I don't use Apple. I don't.
Perfect. Good.
I like Apple for the stuff we do
Right.
business wise.
Awesome.
But,
Yes.
But like maps and weather and stuff, no.
It
No,
doesn't
not
work.
at all.
And it was funny. Andrew Capasso at the TV station, he would always give me a hard time. He would grab his iPhone, pull up his weather app, and be like, "This is what my weather app's going to say. Why isn't yours the same?" I'm like, because that's wrong. Throw it down. I never did that.
There's more to it.
Right.
Okay?
Exactly. So we'd always joke about that. But
Yeah. So you're at Visit Tucson now.
yes. Visit
Can you
Tucson.
tell the listeners about what Visit Tucson is and what its mission is?
Absolutely. And so Visit Tucson is a nonprofit here in town, and we basically spread the good word of Tucson across the whole world.
Yeah.
And so I'm on the communications team, which is basically the PR team. We work with different journalists. They come to town and, see Tucson, and then they write about it, which is really cool. Our most recent big one. Now, I came here I went to Visit Tucson just as this was coming out, but my team, has been working on this for a long time. The Times 52 Greatest Places to Travel, that was our team. We had worked with the journalist that wrote the piece, and he felt that Tucson was worthy of that title.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what we do, and we work with the community and our partners and try and get them to all of the local spots and really just kind of share how sweet our city is, because our city is really cool.
Yeah, it is. You gotta be from somewhere else or live somewhere else for a little bit to really, really appreciate all the diversity as far as like you said the microclimates and just everything, the landscapes, the differences in them. Like you can just drive an hour and 20 minutes and you're in the mountains.
Yes. I know. It's so crazy. So I'm originally from North Dakota. Like I grew up in North Dakota. North Dakota is flat, except for the very southwestern corner where Badlands National Park is. But and as flat as can be. We didn't have any mountains or anything like that. And so driving here, before we moved here, we went from North Dakota to North Carolina on the coast. We lived in Wilmington, and then we drove into town from I-10 through New Mexico. And I remember my husband and I drove in, and we just knew right away that this was like a super special place because we saw all the mountain ranges. You got the huge Catalinas, you've got the Tucson Mountains, the Rincons, the Tortolitas, even you can see Madera Canyon and those mountains down there all the way in Tucson. And so we drove in and we're like, holy crap, this is like this is crazy. And then even coming from North Carolina, I was like, yeah, it was a beach, but no mountains. And so,
you can cuss on here if you want to.
Can I? Okay.
It's not FCC regulated.
I think people would be surprised that I actually have a very big potty mouth.
Yeah, we try not to,
crazy.
But every once in a while somebody just drops it, and it's like, well, we don't have to edit it out. No one's gonna come get us. So.
Right? Yeah, I'm so used to TV.
Yeah, you're
not say anything.
No.
Oh, dang nabbit. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it happens on here. And you're like, oh well, okay. We just got to mark explicit when we post it. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, it really is. It's really awesome. Have you been to Sedona?
Yep, been to Sedona a few times, actually. That's where my husband and I celebrated our first wedding anniversary.
Oh, great, yeah.
Because, we got married right before we moved here. So in April of 2018, we got married in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. Then we moved here in June of 2018. And so, it was a very quick turnaround. But we went there. And then I've done a couple solo trips up there as well. I'm kind of a loner. I don't think people would really expect that, but I love my alone time and I love hiking. So hiking alone, I did bring the dogs. I did a few hikes up there by myself. So
it's that's one of my favorite spots.
I know. It really is. And it's just, I like to go in the winter during the week because then there's nobody there.
Yeah.
Because on the weekends, it just gets too crazy nowadays. And I remember I did go in June of 2021 because it was right before I got pregnant. And I went during the week, but there were so many people that were there. And I was coming down off of Cathedral Trail. And it was like 8:30. And these people were wearing long pants, long T-shirts, and the forecasted high was like 107 degrees that day.
Oh, man.
And they had like a tiny bottle of water. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
They have no idea.
Right. And everyone thinks Sedona is so much cooler than like Tucson. And it's like maybe 5 degrees cooler. It's really not that much cooler.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. Yeah. The 4 out-of-towners have no idea what this heat is like. Yeah. Oh, it's just a dry heat. Yeah, that's not really how it goes.
Have you ever sat in an oven for like 30 minutes? Let me know how it goes.
Yeah. No, it's just, no. So, you were with KOLD.
Yep.
You moved to visit Tucson. Mm-hmm. What prompted that change for you? Was it the opportunity? Were you looking to do something different? Career movement. Why do we like to talk about career movement? And I was letting you know that I used to be a police officer for the town of Marana, and did some things there. But I just kind of want to know. Here's some insight. Like, what motivated you to leave? How did you do it? Because we find and we get emails even from people saying, "Hey, heard of your podcast. That person said this and this, and it really opened my eyes, and I made the decision to do this because of it." So we've actually had that happen on several occasions. So so just kind of run us through that. It's inspiring for some people. You know what I mean? Some people might be in that spot where I'm like, hey, I'm thinking of making a change, but I'm scared.
It is so scary. I don't know. I get emotional when I talk about it. I don't know if I made the right choice. And I don't know, if we ever do, but it was a long time coming. I came here in 2018 and I loved the job. I went to re-sign for a second contract, which I had actually never done at any TV station. This was the first time I wanted to stay someplace. Like I said, like Tucson's really cool. And I loved the morning team I was working with. I was with Andrew and Helica, Wendy, and everyone behind the scenes too. We had such a great crew in the morning, but during those contract negotiations, it's like, okay, I don't know if this is going to be my long-term place, but I wasn't ready to give it up yet. Mm-hmm. And then I signed that contract in, I think it was June, and I got pregnant the next month. And so I was pregnant and then left on maternity leave April of 2022, came back in July of 2022 after my 12 weeks, and things were good at the beginning. They gave me a lesser workload and I was doing good, but then a month went by and then they added twice as much onto my workload and I just wasn't able to, it was just too much. And I wasn't getting the support that I needed in that time. And so I went to management and I talked to them and, there are things that they could do, there are things that they couldn't do. And after those conversations, it was just like, I think my time is done. And so when I was trying to figure out what else to do, weather is very small. Like there's a lot that you can do. You can work for the National Weather Service and you can do this, but a lot of those jobs require a master's degree. Yeah. I don't have a master's degree. I just have my bachelor's of science in atmospheric sciences. And so I was like, what else do I like? I was like, well, I like Tucson. And so I had seen jobs for Visit Tucson pop up. I didn't have any experience in the tourism industry at all. But I took a chance and I saw a job in, I think it was November. Yeah. And it was the director of, not director. I know it was the step above me where I am right now at Visit Tucson. And I reached out to the director of communications on LinkedIn. I sent her a cold call. I was like, hi, my name is Stephanie Waldref. I see that you have this position posted. Here's my resume and my cover letter. Please consider me for this position. And she messaged me back and I got an interview.
There you go.
And I was like, yeah, this is sweet. I'm so excited. The ladies that work at Visit Tucson in my department, so nice, so fantastic. And I was really excited. I didn't get that job. That was in December. I was pretty upset and I was disappointed, but I was like, okay, keep on chugging along.
Yeah.
I had a couple other interviews. I had like a sales interview and things like that. That didn't feel right. Then another job came open at Visit Tucson. And so I messaged her again. I was like, hello, remember me? Please hire me.
Remember me?
Okay, I didn't say that. A little better, but like also like, hello, sliding into her DMs basically. And I interviewed for that job and they told me, they were like, you're probably going to be a little bit overqualified for this job. And I was like, that's okay. I was like, I really need a break right now. I have been so stressed. I was doing the job of like 3-4 different people at the TV station and those hours are insane.
Yeah.
Waking up at 2 a.m. every day.
I saw you post something about that and I was like, 2 a.m.?
Yeah, it was rough. And so I was like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so, I put in my notice. I gave the TV station about a month. I did work some weekends for them through the month of April because, they were short-staffed when I was there.
Yeah.
So they were more short-staffed when I left. And so I worked some weekends for him to help my weather team because the weather team at KOLD as well, like Aaron Christensen, Mallory Schnell, who took my position, Allie Potter, she's fantastic. All of them were fantastic. And so I didn't want to leave them in a lurch.
Yeah.
Then I started working at Visit Tucson and I almost quit after 3 days, actually.
Oh, really?
I know. I weren't expecting that. Well, I went literally Tuesday a.m., February 28th, I was on TV. And then March 1st, I started my new job at Visit Tucson.
Wow. Quick transition.
A quick transition indeed. And so I was used to seeing my baby for hours and hours. Now, granted, it was exhausting because I would either get off at 10:30 or 12:30 and then be with her the rest of the day until she went to bed at like 6, 7 p.m. But I saw her so much. Well, then I go into this new job. It's a normal office job, 8 to 5, and I didn't get to see my baby at all.
Yeah.
And I picked her up from daycare, which she never slept at daycare. That girl can fight sleep harder. I hope she puts that stubbornness to good use when she's older, but that's a conversation for a different time. She would never fall asleep, and I picked her up, and she was just in hysterics the first 3 days. And I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to quit. So that weekend, my husband and I talked about it. We looked at the finances and things like that. And he was like, you didn't quit your job at the TV station to not see your kid and to be miserable. So, and it wasn't anything that Visit Tucson did. It was just
change.
It was a lot going on. It was a lot. Yeah. And, I hadn't done anything other than TV ever. And so it was a lot. And I remember I went to my manager's office that Monday. Well, she asked me, she came into the office and she asked me, she's like, how you doing? And I started like tearing up. And she was like, hold that. I have a meeting that I have to get to, but we will let's meet this afternoon.
Yeah.
And so we met that afternoon, and I told her, I was like, I started crying. Ever since I had a baby, I cry all the time now. Never used to cry.
It's it changes
hormones,
you.
Man.
Hey, it changed. I had a daughter, it changed my whole world. My whole outlook in life changed. So don't even sweat it.
Yeah. But I went into and I started crying, and I was like, I can't do this. I was like, I don't get to see my kid anymore, and like I don't get to. And she's like, well, what do you need from us? And I was like
whoa.
I had never like received that response from a manager before. They were always like, well, that's your job, deal with it.
Yeah.
And she was like, you can come in earlier. How about 7 to 3:30? You don't need an hour lunch. You can take a half-hour lunch, 7 to 3:30. And that was that Monday. That next Tuesday, I came in 7 to 3:30, and that's what I've been doing ever since. Nice. So yeah, I was just like in shock. I had never had that, and then I get to work from home 2 days a week, which helps a lot too. And yeah, it's been really. I've slept more than I think I have because even before I was in Arizona, I was in North Carolina also on the morning news. So I was still waking up at 2 a.m. So it's like, I haven't gotten this much sleep in years. And so, yeah.
Because you probably weren't going to bed like super early still. Like, were you trying to go to bed at like 5 or 6 p.m.?
I did actually.
Did you? I tried that for years. I could never get it.
I was always really strict about it because I don't function off of no sleep.
Yeah, see, I wasn't disciplined.
And see, I was. And so 6 o'clock is when I would like get ready for bed. 7 o'clock is when I would be like sleeping.
Props to you.
And so I was always getting a lot of sleep, but even because like technically I was getting, 7-8 hours. Mm-hmm. But when you go to bed when the sun is up and wake up in the dark, you still never feel well rested. No. I hated summer because the sun was up for so long and I could never, even with blackout curtains, I could never get a good deep sleep. Loved winter because it was like sun's going down at 5 p.m. So am I. But yeah, it was, you never feel well rested when you're doing those crazy hours like that.
So I worked when I first started, I worked night shift, right?
Yes.
It was 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. I remember the first couple of months I'd be driving and I'd stop and I'd look in the road and I'd be like, is that there or not? What is that? I couldn't even tell if what I saw was real. I was like, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if that's real or not. So
absolutely.
Yeah, it's crazy that what it does to your physiology and everything.
Yeah.
It's just,
you're just not meant to sleep like that. You know, and props to the people. Andrew's been doing it for I think 7.5 years or so. And so just crazy. My dad also did overnights. He drove truck for a little bit and he did overnights like that. And it was just like, oh my God.
Clint used to own a trucking company and do that stuff. He told me some stories.
Yeah.
I know. No, I'm good.
It's hard on a person.
You're talking about daycare and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's another crazy subject.
Oh yeah.
Like for reals, it's expensive.
Yes.
And so here to put it in perspective, right? So we have 2 kids. We're getting ready to pay for the second one to go.
Yeah.
And we're blessed, right? With how we do financially and whatnot. But even for us, with where we're at, we're like ramen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ramen noodles, cup of noodles is probably going to be something that gets eaten.
Right.
We'll do the best we can, but
absolutely,
it's like $2,500 a month plus.
Yeah.
For 2 kids.
Absolutely. Ours is $1,400 a month.
It's another mortgage.
Yeah. It is. It is. And then, and it's funny because my parents and like my grandparents will ask, like, "Oh, you're gonna have a second?" Or anyone will ask that, which never ask someone if they're gonna have another kid, but it's my family, so they can ask.
Yeah.
But I told him, I'm like, "Are you paying for it?" Yeah. Because like I'm not like
I'm paying for my kid to hang out with somebody else during the day.
Right. So, like, and I, props to stay-at-home moms because I don't think I could do it. I don't know how. How they do it, but it is kind of, it's hard. It's like it's honestly like constantly just inner like battle going, like, do I want to pay someone else to watch my kid or do I want to stay home with that kid? But also, like, even though daycare is so expensive, you still need that second income nowadays. And so it's like, and with 2 kids, obviously that's slashed even more, but like, it's hard. And even if you're not technically bringing home money, you're bringing home your 401k contributions, you're bringing home health insurance or whatever else.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like there's really no good answer.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a real conversation that I think people in our age group are having is like,
yeah,
well, you can do it. You can make anything happen, right? We can move things around and stuff like that. But you have those hard conversations about like quality of life for your family when you decide you want to have more kids these days.
Yeah.
And I know it was hard back in the people are like, calm down, David. It's not that big of a deal, but Clint's like, calm down, Dave. His stories are crazy. Like, yeah, I won't get into those. Maybe he'll talk about them one day. But yeah, no, it's something to consider. You have to go, okay, how do we swing this? You know,
right?
So.
Well, my husband and I have had those conversations too, and we could have a second, and that'd be fantastic. But we'd have to cut back on the things we like to do, and we can do that, but I don't know if I want to do that right now. And so, it's up to everyone else to kind of, everyone's wants and needs are different. And
put the good in it, right? It's just temporary.
It is. That is very true. I can't wait. I mean, even she moved up into the toddler room because she started walking. Aww. And so even that, I'm like, Charlie started making a ruckus in the infant room because she was in there for a long time because she's a late walker. She's 16 months she just started walking, which I'm told is good because once they start really walking, it's like, watch. Like,
oh yeah, nope. Get your Nikes on or whatever you're wearing because you're gonna be trying to track them down.
Right, exactly. Where was I going with that? But she became a problem child in the baby room because they would put the infants down for a nap, and she would go, they had plexiglass on one of the sides of the cribs, and she would go and like bang on the plexiglass and wake up the babies. And then she would like throw food, and she was like patting babies' heads because we teach her to pat the dogs. Yeah. Well, baby's not quite as sturdy as my 65-pound lab pit mix. So like, she became a problem child. So she moved up to the bigger room. Thank goodness.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love stories like that. Ours took a little while. She was a bum shuffler too.
A bum shuffler?
Yeah.
What's a bum shuffler?
She would just like be on her bum and just scoot across the floor fast.
Charlie is a knee walker.
Knee walker.
Yes. She doesn't realize she has a whole second part of her leg and just like okay.
That's funny.
That's all she does. So yeah.
That's so fun. Well, Stephanie, we're hitting the time, and it's been great having you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This is my first podcast, so I was stoked.
Welcome, honored.
Yes,
local Marana.
Yes, I love it.
Live the Dream Media Studios. You know, with you guys at Visit Tucson, we have a bunch of tools. Maybe we can all work on something together and figure something out, have some fun, collaborate, and do some things. Just want to let you know that we're an open resource. We have This is Marana that's getting ready to launch. Marana AZ Foodie we own.
Oh, cool.
We're getting ready to launch that.
Yeah.
Might need some help with that, but I think everything's going to tie in together at some point.
Very cool.
We did have Tucson Foodie reach out to see if we needed help with anything. So
yeah,
we'll
and
figure
they just
that out.
underwent like a whole remodel too. So
no, I love what they're doing. It's crazy good. There's stuff like every day I have something to look at and whatnot.
Absolutely.
No, they're killing it. Hoping I can get Shane on here or something and see if we can. I think that's his name.
Yep.
Get him on here or somebody from there. But again, it's been a pleasure. If you haven't yet, go to localmarana.com. Check out what's going on there. Subscribe to our podcast. Follow Stephanie on social media.
Waldref weather.
Yeah, we've done a couple things on there collaboration wise. Yeah. You'll see some reels and reach out if you have any questions about the weather. Maybe she can answer them. I had a couple today. So.
Heck yes, please do. I love that is the one thing I miss most about TV is I literally got paid to talk about the weather, and now I really, really miss that. So if you've got a weather question, nothing is a stupid question. Yeah. I might not be able to answer it, but I can try. I can find someone that can. Yeah. So
how do folks help out with Visit Tucson? What can they do?
Really just sharing your experiences in the city. I don't do the social media, but our social media guy, he's fantastic. If you tag him, he'll share it in the stories or maybe on the timeline and stuff. Share, and see what sticks.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks again for being here.
Thank you so much.
All right. We just want to shout out to a couple of our sponsors. Main one, selltoallen.com. If you're looking to sell your house, go to selltoallen.com. See if he can help you, him and his team. Another one is coppercreekcookies.net. If you're looking for some good cinnamon rolls and logo cookies,
they are delicious.
Reach out. Yeah, you've had some. We got a surprise for you after the show. And then also Quality Lube and Tube Trail Boss Off-Road right here at their new shop on Thornydale Road. If you need a car repair, you're looking to do some off-road fabrication, make sure you head over there and get that taken care of. Thanks again.